When life's greatest gift arrives in your twilight years, can it become a cruel twist of fate, even a death sentence? What if the miracle millions yearn for turns into a curse for a single family? Today, we bring you the poignant story of a 56-year-old woman whose impossible pregnancy set off a chain of fateful events. It's a tale of devastating betrayal from the closest of kin, of a mind broken by grief, and a solemn vow made at a fresh grave, a promise that changed everything. Prepare yourselves. What you're about to hear will make you look at the resilience of the human spirit and the true cost of redemption in a whole new light. The first blow of fate struck Evelyn suddenly, among the garden rows and the smell of damp earth. A fiery arc of pain shot through her back, forcing the 56-year-old woman to collapse to her knees. The pain, alien and malevolent, coiled into a tight knot in her lower abdomen, tearing a choked moan from her chest. It was unlike anything she had ever known. Her body, a loyal and predictable instrument throughout her life, suddenly became hostile, unfamiliar territory. That evening, when her husband Arthur, a man of strict rules and earthly logic, found her pale on the sofa, he merely frowned. What nonsense! Death comes quietly, it withers. But you're blossoming, not fading. You've put on weight, a blush. His words, meant to soothe, felt like a slap. He didn't see the terror in her eyes, didn't feel her world crumbling into fragments. A visit to the young paramedic Clara was supposed to bring clarity, and it did. Clarity as deafening as a clap of thunder. After the examination and reviewing the tests, Clara, without looking up, uttered words that split Evelyn's life in two. "Evelyn Petrovna, you don't have any terminal illness, you're pregnant. Almost 4 months along. And there are two." The air in the office became thick, viscous. Evelyn turned to stone, staring at the doctor with unseeing eyes. Pregnant. At 56, with twins. It sounded like a cruel, absurd joke, like a madman's delusion. "It's a mistake," she whispered, but Clara's icy tone left no hope. "No mistake. A 1-in-a-million case. And it's yours." She didn't remember leaving the clinic. The world blurred into a hostile, indistinct smudge. The village streets, familiar down to every pebble, now seemed like scenery for her personal nightmare. Ahead, a bridge loomed over a dark, lazy river. The thought came unbidden, cold, sharp, and salvific. One step, just one, and the shame, the fear, this unthinkable burden, all would vanish in the indifferent water. The cold metal of the railing burned her palms. Below, in the leaden surface, the grey sky reflected. Another second, one last effort, and then a ragged, inhuman cry tore through the silence. It was Arthur. He had seen her. He understood everything. His voice was a mix of horror, despair, and a sudden, belated understanding. He ran up, grabbed her shoulders, and pulled her from the edge. He embraced her, trembling, and in that moment he realised their familiar world had irrevocably crumbled, for both of them. The second devastating blow was dealt by their adult daughter, Stephanie. For several months, Arthur and Evelyn had lived in a fragile, tense quiet, hiding their secret from the world. They were learning to breathe again, adjusting to the idea that their peaceful old age was cancelled. But it was on that Sunday, when Evelyn's belly could no longer be hidden under loose clothing, that the phone rang. Stephanie swept into the house as always, a whirlwind of performative cheer, expensive perfume, and practiced filial affection. "Hi, Dad. I'm just here for a bit. Need your help," she chirped, giving her father a casual peck on the cheek. Her gaze swept the room and landed on her mother. A second. 2. The smile on Stephanie's face froze, then slowly melted away like wax. Her eyes, moments ago radiating false warmth, narrowed into 2 icy slits. She stared at Evelyn's rounded belly, and her face turned into a deathly pale mask of disgust. What is this?" she hissed, a metallic ring in her voice. You're old! Have you completely lost your mind? Don't you dare speak to your mother like that!" Arthur exploded, shielding his wife. But Stephanie was unstoppable. She waved her father away like an annoying fly. "And you're just as bad," she spat venomously. "You should be thinking about your golden years, not starting a family. What a disgrace. Just don't saddle me with extra burdens. I need to build my own life, not nurse your monstrous offspring." Each word struck Evelyn like a physical blow, knocking the air from her lungs. She looked at her daughter, at that beautiful, cruel face, and didn't recognize her. One thought flashed through her mind. "We nurtured a viper in our home." She wanted to say something, to argue, but she couldn't. Suddenly, an icy band of pain squeezed her abdomen. It was so unbearable, so sharp, that her vision blurred, her body burned from within. Evelyn screamed, clutching at the wall, and slowly, as if felled, began to slide to the floor. "Arthur, I feel bad." "Call an ambulance," she rasped, losing consciousness. The man rushed to her in horror, his face contorted with fear. "But it's too early. The term isn't due yet," he mumbled distractedly, his trembling hands fumbling with the phone. Evelyn screamed again, and that cry, full of inhuman agony, drowned out all other sounds in the house, becoming a harbinger of inevitable misfortune. The third act of the tragedy unfolded under the cold light of operating lamps. The journey to the city hospital was a blur of terror. On the gurney, right at the operating room doors, Evelyn briefly regained consciousness. Her eyes, full of murky pain, found her husband's face. "Take care of them, Arthur. Don't abandon them," she breathed, and her hand slipped limply from his. Time stopped for Arthur. It turned into a thick, sticky mass of fear. He, a man far removed from medicine, understood one thing. The babies would be born too early. 7-month babies. The word sounded like a death knell. Behind the wall, doctors fought for 3 lives. The operation was performed, and 2 tiny, wrinkled bodies, barely clinging to life, came into the world. Why would a 56-year-old woman even attempt this? Utter madness, the young surgeon muttered, pulling off his gloves. "And even if the babies survive, they'll have complications." "No doubt about it," his colleague chimed in. They didn't notice Evelyn briefly surface from unconsciousness for a few seconds. She heard. She understood everything. And in that moment, her body, her tormented organism, simply refused to fight anymore. The monitors flatlined with a mournful, final beep. 20 minutes later, Evelyn's heart stopped forever. The news of his wife's death and the terrible diagnosis of the children. One girl had a severe heart defect. The other could barely see. Crushed Arthur. His mind, unable to bear the reality, simply shut it down. When Stephanie, a couple of days later, came to talk to him about the funeral, she found her father smilingly looking out the window. "Dad, we need to bury Mom," she began nervously. Arthur turned, and a clear, childlike joy shone in his eyes. "Stephanie, what are you talking about, dear?" "Mom went to visit Grandma. She'll be back soon. Look how sunny it is outside. Why don't you go for a walk? School will be starting soon, and you won't have time." Stephanie stared at him in horror. He wasn't truly there. He was lost in the past, where they were all young and happy. Feeling neither guilt nor pity, Stephanie coldly and calculatingly did what she deemed necessary. She went to the hospital and signed the official papers to relinquish her newborn sisters. Burden lifted. Problem solved. The whole village gathered for Evelyn's funeral. Only her immediate family was absent in her final moments. Stephanie stood apart, afraid to approach the coffin. Arthur never appeared, continuing to live in his fabricated world. When the clods of earth thudded against the coffin lid, the cemetery's silence was broken by a lone, desperate wail. It was Clara, the very same paramedic. She fell to her knees by the fresh grave in the icy rain, blaming only herself. "I didn't watch closely enough. I didn't intervene. Forgive me, Evelyn, if you can," she whispered. And then a realization struck her. She shuddered, lifted her tear-streaked face to the gloomy sky, and declared like a vow, "I will atone for my mistake. I will find your girls. I will raise and nurture them, no matter the cost. They will live, for themselves and for you, I promise." Clara's vow, made in the cold rain, became her fire and her purpose. She didn't wait. Learning that Stephanie had signed the relinquishment papers, she rushed to the children's home where the girls were temporarily housed. The director's office was an icy bastion of indifferent logic. The woman behind the desk, with tired eyes and an unyielding posture, listened to Clara without a trace of sympathy. "Young lady, are you in your right mind?" Her voice was as dry as an autumn leaf. "You're a single woman, a paramedic, with a meagre salary. How do you intend to support two seriously ill children? They require surgeries, rehabilitations, which cost a fortune." Every word was a nail in the coffin of Clara's hope. "But I gave my word. She tried to argue. The director cut her off, not letting her finish. "Your words won't heal them. And besides, you're too late. A foster family has already been found for them. Very wealthy, respectable people. They're bringing the final documents today." At that very moment, the door quietly opened, and a couple entered the office. A man and a woman in their 50s, their faces etched with a quiet sorrow and timid hope. Seeing the folder in their hands, Clara knew this was the end, or her last chance. And then she broke. She sprang up, ignoring the director's angry glare, and addressed the couple. A torrent of words poured from her, fervent, desperate, heartfelt. She told them everything, about Evelyn, about her fear and shame, about her own daughter's cruelty, about her husband, driven mad by grief. She spoke of her guilt and of the vow made at the grave, which had become the only thing holding her to this world. She wasn't asking, she was pleading. George and Eleanor listened, and their carefully composed calm cracked before their eyes. When Clara fell silent, exhausted, a ringing silence hung in the office. George looked at her for a long time, then at his wife, and a decision formed in his eyes. "We will not give up on these girls," he stated firmly. "We will pay for all the operations. We will give them the best money can buy. But you," he paused, "you will give them something money cannot buy. We are not offering you a job as a nanny. We are offering you the chance to be their second mother, to live with us, to be with them always." 18 years flew by like a single moment, woven from sleepless nights, hospital corridors, small victories, and endless love. George and Eleanor's wealth worked medical miracles. Clara's love worked miracles of the soul. The girls, named Faith and Hope, grew up. The heart defect and vision problems were left in the past, conquered by the best doctors and a mother's unwavering care. Clara never married. She didn't need another family. She had her own. And the happiest day of her life was when Faith and Hope, now adults, embraced her on their 18th birthday and quietly said, "Thank you for everything, Mom." That evening, gazing into the bottomless starry sky, Clara smiled. "Do you see, Evelyn? I kept my word. Your girls are happy. Now you can rest in peace. And I am happy here. We will meet again someday. I promise."